Welcome to my voiceover world.
Hello.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Just getting myself comfortable here. I'm doing okay, rocking a new haircut here, so I'm super short.
And as for myself, gotten my new look there.
Ah, once in a while I lose my beard just to see what changes my face has gone through or whatever, but I'm
Yeah,
too lazy to shave every day.
of course. But you, sir, are still the same looking handsome devil with a very
Oh,
great attitude. But
thank you. Thank you.
thanks for willing to do this, Doug.
Sure thing.
You know, it has been 3 years since we've seen each other.
Wow.
As I recall, it was in 2022 when we first met, and that this because I wasn't 210, honestly, my weight, and right now I'm in the 140s, my
Oh,
new
nice.
appearance,
Right.
because, because of a deal that was struck into me that once I lose 160, I'll be taken to California, and that motivated me, and well, this is it. And you want
Excellent.
to know the best part is? The best part is that I've been making a lot of videos for you for about a few years, characters and voice actors of each shows and games, and I included you in my videos to help give you a lot of recognition.
Well, I wish the people give me recognition. They can write me checks if they want. They can send me checks. Uh, I'll accept, or they can mail me cash. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
But
Uh,
don't worry, I did it just so I can help you and everyone else.
sure. So to have you come, did the deal go through? Have you been to California now?
Not yet, but
Ah,
not until things get sorted out in California. And when
ah,
everything's settled there, I will come there to see not only you, but everyone else there. That's a promise I'm willing to make.
right.
But now to get started with all of this, but there are a lot of questions I like to ask, and there's one I should have asked you like a long time ago, like what really inspired you to pursue voice acting, and what was the best decision you've made so far that has excelled into your career? For what purpose?
Well, I wanted to act as a kid, but at that time, voice acting, I'm from Canada, as you remember, and as a kid growing up in the 50s, the only voice acting we heard was people doing commercials and Saturday morning cartoons that were done in Hollywood. So that was like for me in another world. So I never imagined doing voice work. I just hoped that someday I could be an actor. I loved film actors and I loved going to plays. So I started acting. Um, and continued doing acting in amateur theater as a teenager and then as an adult. And I had done a radio play as a little kid, so I knew a little bit about that. But it wasn't until I was working a job where they needed somebody to do voiceover work for the company that I got into it. And that's what got me thinking about voiceover work. And I thought, wow, I'd never considered that you could make a living doing this. That, I don't know why I didn't put it together that, hey, you get paid to be a voice actor. Of course, it's a profession. I'd never thought about it. And I thought, wow, if I could do some voice acting and some theater acting and maybe get some on camera roles for movies or TV shows, maybe I could make a living at this. So that's what inspired me to investigate voiceover acting more. And as it turned out, I really enjoyed it and I was pretty good at it. And then eventually started to get paid. Primarily, I was doing commercials at first, but I really liked the fun of on camera or on stage, you can only play what you look like. You can't really play something so different than something that you look like. I'm a short guy. I had dark hair. I look very ethnic. There were certain things I could never be, but in front of a microphone, I could be anything or anybody. So it's kind of magical. Change your voice and you could sound like you were 8'7" and you were a huge, scary guy. You were a frightened little character. There was so much you could do that it got me. Yes, I know. I'm talking. Of course, my assistant is here. Come on. My assistant heard my voice, so she assumed I'm talking to her. She'll get her tail up in the way here. So that's what got me excited about voiceover acting. And then I got into it. And eventually, of course, within about 5 or 6 years of my starting as an actor, voiceover became almost everything that I did. I did less and less of all the other work and focused on voiceover. As far as decisions, um, I think a very general decision I made because I've been working since I was 16 and I had a strong work ethic. When I got into acting, I looked at some of the actors and they seemed kind of flighty to me. Like they weren't really being mature about everything, like being super reliable, always on time, always come with a good attitude, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, I'm going to approach this really professionally so that when I go into a studio, I have to tell myself, don't be egotistical. There's probably 1,000 people can do more than that can do what I'm going to do in the studio today. So I have to be the most professional, the most polite. I'm going to be there 15 minutes early and ready to go whenever they want me. I'm going to make it easy for them so that they go after the session, they go, oh, well, he got everything done. He was good. And boy, he was easy to work with. Let's mark him down. We got to bring him in again. So making myself desirable to the people who hire by being really professional. Oops, careful, kitty. She sat on the space bar. By being really professional and just coming in with a good, positive attitude, trying to make it. Bear in mind that the person directing is there all day long. The engineer's there all day long. They're going to get exhausted and tired. But if you come in and you make them laugh and you smile and you're friendly and you make their day a little easier while getting the work done, they're going to remember you and you're more likely to rise up on that list of people they want to hire. So that was something I decided early, and it turned out I was right. And it really has served me well. Um, that people bring me in and seem to have a good time having me there, enjoy having me at the session. And I try to always make it easier for them, get the work done properly, but also make it a pleasant experience for them as well. So that's something I would advise anybody in acting to keep in mind. Make yourself desirable because there's lots of other people can do this. We're not the only ones.
Interesting. So that's how you got there because of all that experience right there.
Well,
Honestly, I'm
I think that helped. The earlier experience helped. Yeah.
yeah, because right now I actually just got done with my exam in college, and that my next semester is where I'm taking intro to theater with a teacher who's actually involved in an anime show called One Piece, where and learning from a professional guy will help me give me the education I need to improve my skills and just get myself better at voice acting from the sake
Sure.
of me just working with you and everyone else there.
Well, certainly
Yeah,
being taught by somebody, I very much believe that in that too, like you're saying. You want to be taught by people who don't just have theories about the work, but actually have done the work. So they know exactly, okay, this is, mic, there's a thing called mic technique, how to use the microphone properly. And just there's a lot of things to it. It's not just simply standing in front of the microphone. So it's good to have a good teacher who um, knows it from doing it.
of course.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you say that. Now, there's one thing I like to ask, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe the show Mask must be your first ever audition you've got yourself into. Isn't that correct? MASK from 1985, as I recall.
That is correct. It's 1985. It's not the first audition though. I've been working full time since 1982 in Canada. So I had been doing voiceover in Canada, but nothing as big as Mask. It was all Canadian productions, which were rather small. So I'd been performing on stage. I'd been doing on camera work there. I did get to star or get some pretty big roles in some made for TV films, et cetera, et cetera. But Mask was the first job I got to audition for that was going to record in the United States, that was going to record in LA. So it was a very big deal. because it was a network cartoon series. So it was the first time I'd gotten to audition for anything that big. And it was a production that was had a French, American, and Canadian money in it. The companies from all three. So they decided to do it with Canadian actors, but record it in LA. And they couldn't find the lead character in LA. They auditioned all the Canadian actors and they found a few, but they couldn't find the guy to play the hero that they wanted. And so they sent the audition up to Toronto to just a few agencies. And I was lucky enough that my agent was one of them. I auditioned and they went, "Ooh, we like him." So I re-auditioned. I auditioned, I had them all on the phone in the studio in Toronto and they put me through the paces, try this, try that, try this. And I ended up getting, I think I started with three roles and then flew down to California in early 1985 to record and ended up with eight roles in the series.
Interesting. So that so that was your first ever audition, was Mask. I just wanted to make sure so that just in case whenever I do a voice showcase for my YouTube channel, which I wanted to do one for you, all it takes is chronological order to see the involvement of a lot of people, just like how I did for many others for 4 years, from Billy Kometz, Brad Venable, through Lance Riddick, everybody. And you, my friend, you will be one of them eventually, for the sake
Right.
of giving you not only the recognition you deserve, but to help you jog the memories of all the characters that you played as. Just like how I told this to Ellen Stern Epcar, which I made a promise to her about it, and she is be gladly to do so.
Right. Well, just to make it clear, it wasn't my first audition, but it was my first audition for an LA show, for a
I
Los
see.
Angeles show.
Just checking to make sure, just in case. Now, without further ado, how does it feel about you returning to play the characters Dayakka and Guame in Gurren Lagann 2 recap films?
Oh my goodness. Well, you get brought back for once in a while. A series is so popular, of course, that the fans say, "Boy, we want more of these." And like One Punch Man as well. Like there's other, the shows will come up a few years later, and it's always fun to get contacted by the studio and say, "Hey, we're doing a new episode of such and such. We know it's been 3, 4 years, but it's coming back. Do you want to redo your character?" And of course, I always want to redo the character. I'm always enthusiastic to redo them. It's fun. I go, wow, I didn't know I was going to get a chance to play that character again. I thought it was done and moving on. So it's always fun when you have to be reminded though, sometimes you forget what voice, what you did with your voice. So they'll play you some of what you did and you go, oh yes, of course. Now I remember I did this and this and this. You have to jog your memory to get back into character again. And that's the challenge and fun is to get yourself right back to sounding exactly like you did those many years before. So that's always fun.
Indeed. It must have been very nice, isn't it? For both Tony Oliver and Michelle Ruff to bringing you back to playing the characters right there. And you want to know the best part? I made characters and voice actors of Gurren Lagann, not just the series, but also the 2 recap films as well, to represent you and everyone else there. I included you in there, by the way, to help
Oh,
give you a lot of things right there, a recognition you deserve.
thank you.
And you want to know something? There's something you must know that in those 2 recap films, there were 2 voice actors who actually took over for the roles of the old characters for the original actors. For
Oh,
example, Celeba, who is played by Amber Lee Connors, who replaced the retired Mary Devon. And as for the anti-spiral, being voiced by Crispin Freeman, replacing the deceased Dave Mello,
oh,
whom I wanted to do a video about to help honor his legacy to those who carry on his torch right there.
right.
And that's why I'm just wanted to pass that knowledge to you, just like how I passed that down to Steve Staley the other day, which he actually thanked me for that knowledge.
Mm. Well, Dave, I knew Dave very, of course, I know both of them. Mari Devon, who I think moved back to New York, and Dave, of course, passed away. Yeah. I didn't know that Crispin had taken that role, but I guess, yeah, any roles that Dave had done, if the series is going on, then of course somebody has to kind of voice match, approximate his voice and go on. But yes, a tribute to Dave would be very nice. He did a lot of work, um, a lot of very well-known characters
And
in his career.
and that's the idea right there. And that's exactly what I'm working on right now.
Right,
Doing a voice showcase to help honor his legacy like I did for many others for years. So
right.
that's something I want to tell you.
Yeah. Well, if and when you do it, send me the link and because I'd like to look at it.
Well, that's the idea, Doug, and
Yeah.
that's something I'm willing to do. I promise. Now, you being part of that, how do I say this? Like, oh right, you being part of Street Fighter 6 as one of the avatars must have been the most exciting thing, right? So what's the most thrilling thing about you being part of Street Fighter 6?
Well, um, bear in mind, because of my age, I'm not as much of a fan of all the shows as the younger people are. For me, a lot of it is who I'm working with. Street Fighter is done by really nice people that I've known for a long time. So part of the fun for me is going in and seeing the directors and the people who are in charge who I haven't seen for a while and just working with them and having fun and working with them. But it was fun. Street Fighters is such a big title that it was kind of fun to be part of it, to be able to tell my younger friends who are big fans of, anime and games, being younger, to say, hey, guess what? I'm now in Street Fighter. And they're, oh, wow, I've played Street Fighter all the time. So kind of part of the fun for me is when I get to tell my younger friends if I'm doing something that excites them. And they go, oh, I'm going to watch that. And da, da, da. So it makes me feel good, knowing that I'm pleasing them and that they're excited about it.
Well, that's super awesome to hear from you, Doug, because you being part of the Street Fighter is the most brilliant thing that the casting that whoever brought you in did. And the best part is Ellen Stern Epcar is also there too. And
Uh,
that first you, then Ellen, and Richard was there too in the Street Fighter 5 as Akuma before Christopher Guerrero did the role of Akuma in the sixth one. But you and Ellen being in there was super brilliant right there. And I give props to the director for bringing you in the greatest game, no, the greatest franchise ever.
it's certainly very famous. Yeah, Richard and Ellen I've known for a very long time. I met them probably I'm going to guess 1986 or 87 is when I met them, about a year or two after I'd arrived in LA. So I guess that's close to 40 years now. A long time I've known them.
Well, that's super interesting to hear. Which I did interview Ellen, and she's super awesome,
Hmm.
along with Richard. Now, you being part of Fire Emblem as the voices of Gilbert, Duke, and that, what was the other one's name? All right, Payson must have been very exciting, right? So what's,
Meissen, I think it is. Yeah.
yeah, so
I
what's
think.
the most exciting thing about being part of the entire Fire Emblem franchises as those characters?
Um, excuse me.
Of, of course.
Again, part of it is the people I work with. That's also a really nice studio where I get to record that with really nice people. So it's just fun being there. There's always doggies around. I'm a cat person, but I'm also a dog person. And some of the studio owners always have dogs around at that studio. So as soon as you walk in, you're petting dogs. Um, Fire Emblem, I like. It's fun when you play characters who are a little bit more complicated. Sometimes you're playing characters who are very one-dimensional. They're just maybe it's all about war. So everything they say is war, 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 war. So it can be a little boring. But in that one, you've got a character who's more complicated. He's more complex. He has a strained relationship with the people that he used to serve. He has a strained relationship with his daughter. etc. He has regrets. He also can be strong and aggressive. There's a lot of colors to him, and that makes him more fun as an actor to portray when you get into a lot of different kinds of emotions. So that's what I enjoy about Fire Emblem, and it's also a title that's very well known. And so if I do mention to people, oh well, if they're asking what I'm in, and if I say Fire Emblem, the odds are very good. If they're anime game fans and whatever, they're going to go, oh, Fire Emblem, sure, I know that one. Um, so it's great that it's had that success.
Well, that's super awesome to hear from you. You just being part of Fire Emblem must have been the most unique thing. Plus, I give props to both Wendy Lee, Patrick Sides, and Christian Lamont for directing you throughout the entire game. Especially you, on the other hand, being both fathers to both Billy Kometz and Erica Mendez, and that's what makes it super unique in a way.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Now, you being part of Sakamoto Days as the voice of Aira must have been very awesome, right? So what's the most thrilling thing about being part of that recent anime show as the voice of that character?
Um, well, you're using the word thrilling, and I don't know if it's always thrilling, but
But
it's
think of it
fun.
as good.
Yeah, it's still a positive, absolutely a positive. It's it's not the specific title of Sakamoto for me, though that was a fun series. What gets me excited is the fact that I'm still working and that I'm almost 75 years old. And so when I get the fact that these studios still call and are still interested in hiring me and having me come in and that I still feel I can do the work on shows like Days, that's what's kind of thrilling for me. Still being able to go in studio and doing the things that I love to do is fun for me. So no matter what the series is, even if the series doesn't turn into a big franchise, and it's just okay, it's a smaller show that certain fans liked, and it didn't get huge. I'm still happy and appreciative that I got to be part of it. I'm just really happy that I get to come in still at my age, that I can still do the work, that they still think of me and remember me. That just makes it fun. Because a lot of people my age are retired. They don't want to voice anymore, or they moved away from LA, or their voices are gone, or they can't concentrate. You get older, things change. So it's nice that I can still do the work.
Well, that's what I like about you, Doug. You're just working so hard to just be you and always will be. But that's something I love about your work so much. You just work very hard to just be you. But hey, you being part of Sakamoto Days was the most brilliant move ever made. I
Uh,
give props to both Kyle McCarley and, of course, well, someone that I met 1 year ago who has been directing the show recently, Bill Millsap, who is like the very best directors right there. And I got to meet him myself, and he's a completely honest guy. What I know
yeah,
about
very
him.
nice.
And
Very
you want
nice.
to know what the best part is? He's been bringing so much of Cobra Kai actors into the show. I was like, "What? You brought that guy, the main character, into from Cobra Kai into the show, and now you brought one of the Cobra Kai actors into the show? What is going on these days?" It's like, boy, the anime these days has becoming so popular that they're just bringing a lot of live action people into it. Even Keith David as well when he was brought into Pluto. So
Mm.
yeah, that's very brilliant that they did.
And yeah,
Now, you
anime's huge now.
it is indeed. Now, you being part of the entire Gundam series must have been the most coolest thing, right? So what do you love most about being part of the entire Gundam franchise as many various characters including Zabi, Kyrian Zabi?
It's been a while since I've done a Gundam. But yeah, it was fun at the time. And again, a lot of it's about relationships and whatnot. When I think of Gundam, I think of the late Kevin Seymour and the folks at Magnitude 8 and Utaka I think of friendships, getting to work with people that I knew and liked, and still know and like some, those that haven't passed away. Um, so that was fun working on the show. And gosh, what was his name? I've lost his name. There was a few actors that I was able to get into Gundam. That I directed one Gundam, and then I also recommended them to Kevin Seymour, and they ended up continuing on. And so that was fun. In the days when I was doing casting and directing, it was always fun for me to be able to recommend a young actor that I knew that I liked and thought was good, recommend them to another director, and then if they liked them and that worked out and their career went well, it gives you a certain pride, like, yeah, I could see that they were talented and I was able to give them a little bit of help. And that was the case in Gundam, that some of the actors in Gundam were folks that I had recommended for the show.
Well, that's very most interesting to hear from you, because you being part of the entire Gundam franchise, not only as a director, but you did like literally in a bunch of characters throughout the entire franchise. And you want to know something? I actually did a video for you about the about that show, the Gundam series called Gundam Seed, where you were brought in by Kerry Carnan. As I recall, it was years ago, where you were brought in to play a doctor and a captain right there.
Uh,
And I included you in my video. That way, you, sir, can be recognized for that work. And I did notice that Michael Nicholas also brought you into the origin for
hmm.
NYAV Post. It was around 2015 when that happened.
Oh,
And
okay.
you want to know the best part is? That your character you played as while directing, Jurian Zabi, he 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 literally has three other actors after you. One was named Hero, and I'm trying to get his other name right. The other one is Liam O'Brien, and the
Mhm.
other one is Daniel Von Thomas, who recently did him in the Amazon Prime show called Mobile Suit Gundam GQUX. So that's something I wanted to tell you right there.
Yeah, I know Liam. I don't know the other actor.
Well, that's why I'm telling you this. That way you, sir, can just understand clearly the knowledge that I wanted to pass down to you. You being the character Dr. Light from Mega Man 11 must have been super awesome, right? So what's the most awesome thing when you got to be Dr. Light in the entire video game?
Uh, I think it was that I hadn't played at that time. I was playing a lot of heavier characters in anime, like more villainous type characters and whatever. And I hadn't for a while had sort of a comedic, light, funny character. So I was happy to get Dr. Light because it was different than what I was doing. And it gave me a chance to show the director, hey, you may not realize it, but I do these kind of characters as well. I can do, funny little men as well as big tough guys or whatever. So that was the fun part about Dr. Light, I thought. And it was kind of silly. I like it. I like stuff that's comedic. You play a lot of stuff that's very dramatic and a lot of war and fighting and aliens arriving and this must be saved and we must get that. It's fun sometimes to play something that's just lighter and sillier. And so Dr. Light was fun for that.
Must have been super awesome, eh? Well, that's why you being part of that entire Mega Man is the most coolest decision that Jonathan Klein has ever made, especially when you were guiding Ben Deskin on his journey to stopping Keith Silverstein from destroying the world. And
Oh,
that's what
that
I
Keith. Keith is always trying to destroy the world. I keep telling him, stop doing that. Just go have a coffee, relax. But, he's determined to destroy the world, that Keith.
Oh yeah. I actually got to meet Keith himself. For super
Mhm.
cool guy, and I
Yeah,
actually showed him my impersonation of him, and he was like, "Whoa, you sound a lot like me." And that's why I
cool.
told him it took me a lot of practices to do so. So yeah, that's something I like to say. Do you recall that show that you were brought into 1 year ago by the name of Delicious in Dungeon by directed by Alex Von David and Lucian Dodge as the Island Lords, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you love most about being in that show as the Island Lord?
Oh, I I can't remember a lot about it, other than I like working with David, um, who I've known for a while. But it's sometimes hard to remember specifics about different. When you're working on something different every week, it can be very hard to remember the specifics. So I can't remember a lot about the Island Lord. Um, I do remember the show now that you mentioned it. When you said his name, that jogged it in my memory, but I'm afraid I don't have any specific memories of the show.
Well, that's why I wanted to say this to you, but you were kind of guiding the main characters to do what's right there and just doing the best you can to just finding that specific creature or something to help make sure they resolve this issue without provocation. That way
Yeah.
there will be zero compromises and everything. But
Mm.
hey, I give props to Alex Von David for bringing you in there. And that's why he and Lucian Dodge has been working together to make things sorted out. And right now, Alex Von David is actually doing a show on Netflix called Den, which is actually popular on Netflix once you get to know it.
Good.
Pretty soon, he might want to bring you in eventually. When that time comes, that is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm always around.
Yes, it will. Now, you remember the show One Punch Man, right?
Yeah.
What do you like most about being the character Dr. Kusuno in One Punch Man?
Well, for some reason, I play a lot of doctors over the years. I've been a lot of strange, odd doctors. One Punch Man is a clever show. Um, not every show in my mind is as clever as the next one. Some of them are smarter kind of shows than others. One Punch Man is pretty cool. And what was fun about that, younger brother, who's an older guy, but he likes certain anime. Even though he's in his 60s, he likes certain anime and he likes One Punch Man a lot. So it made me feel really good to be able to tell him, "Oh, Glenn, I'm in One Punch Man." And he went, "Oh, wow, you're kidding me." Da, da, da. Somebody just got me some swag for One Punch Man, like a mask and some other stuff. So I'm thinking I might mail it to my brother since he's a fan of the show, and let him have these things that were given to me since he might enjoy them. But that made me happy that my younger brother kind of acknowledged it and went, "Oh wow, that's so cool! I'll listen for you," and whatever, made it fun.
Well, that's very interesting to hear from you. Because the fun fact is, that show One Punch Man, it is the very reason why I discovered anime and why I discovered you and everyone in the entire industry. And and it's the reason why it's my desire to working with you in the voice acting industry and everything. And you want to know the best part? The best part is that I made a characters and voice actors of One Punch Man seasons 1 through 2 and I included you in there as a way to help give you the recognition you deserve. Also, so that way because here's the thing. The third season of One Punch Man is coming, and it's coming in the month of my birthday, October, and it will be the best birthday gift that I have gotten. The show that made me get into anime. And that's why I am looking forward to the day when it finally comes out.
Mm. Well, the swag I have is for One Punch 3 for the season 3. It's stuff that's kind of advertising the coming of number 3. So that's why I thought my brother might like it.
And that's the thing,
So
because
he'll want to watch.
if your character returns, so should you, Doug, because you
Mm.
deserve that, honestly.
Oh, well, I certainly hope if my character comes back that they would want to bring me into it. Yeah, don't recast
Yes.
me.
No one does a better job than you, Doug. And
Thank
that's exactly the kind of thing you, my friend, should deserve. Hmm. Well, Doug, it is such an honor to seeing you again after all these years. And that because the truth is, I was unprofessional back then, but then Thanks to my mother's and father's guidance, I became very professional. And because of me attending the conventions and stuff, is what led to my development. And that's what led to this right there.
Mhm.
So
Excellent.
that's indeed. You know, there is one more thing I like to say to you before we go, but and this is very important. When people look back on your work, how do you want to be remembered as a voice actor and as a person?
Oh, well, as a person, it's a big question. I guess I'll tie them in together, kind of. Um, I'd like to be remembered not just for talent, not just for people to say, "Oh, he was talented." Certainly, that I hope they would say that. Um, but I hope they would say he was talented, he was professional, and most importantly, he treated everybody properly. Both when I directed and as an actor, that I hope they'll remember that everybody always got paid, everybody always was treated with respect, everybody was hired based on talent, not just because they were my friend or something, you know. So I hope I'll just be remembered in a positive light. I think we all kind of hope that once we are gone, that people will say, well, the world was a better place with that person in it. You know, we have positive memories of our interactions with that person, and they will be missed and well thought of. And so hopefully through my work as a voiceover actor and also my charity work with the kiddies, hopefully people will think of me and remember me in a positive way as somebody who always tried to be a good, compassionate person and do good work.
Well, and that's the reason why I am desperate to working with you in the industry and why I love supporting you for all this time because of everything right there. But no matter what happens, I will continue to support you in every way, and that way you, sir, will be known out there. That's a promise I'm willing to make. And if I ever do, when I do that voice showcase of Dave Mello, I will send it to you.
Yeah.
And that way everyone can be able to see why I did it for.
Mm.
So yeah. Well, Doug, it's such an honor to meeting you, and that I hope for you to do something very awesome. And if you ever see Richard and Ellen, tell them I said hello, and that hopefully we meet each other again.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Take care and congratulations on losing the weight and having that discipline to do all that. Good for you.
Thank you, Doug. I'm
You're
honored.
welcome.
Well, I'll be seeing you around through social media, my friend.
You got it. Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Want to keep up with my journey? Follow me on social media for more updates, behind the scenes moments, and all the fun along the way.